What's up guys, Asian here again with another theory crafting video, and today we're going to be discussing the crafted set Mechanical Acuity. A lot of you guys have asked for me to test this set, compare it to Julianos on a couple of different Magicka classes, and I've kind of been hesitant to do it, mainly because I know it's not going to be as good as Julianos, and so this video is going to try to explain why Mechanical Acuity isn't actually as good as it seems, at least in PvE. I will do those tests for you. I will compare Mechanical Acuity versus Julianos on a build that is specifically geared to maximize Mechanical Acuity's effectiveness. So I will be testing that out. However, do realize that it's not going to be a one-to-one test like my other videos. It's going to be a lot more optimistic, as in I will be optimizing that build specifically for Mechanical Acuity. Compared to the standard meta build that I normally use with Julianos on a Maxwork or a Magicka Nightblade. So do keep that in mind when I do release that video when I compare Mechanical Acuity versus Julianos. It's not going to be a one-to-one comparison. It's going to be a best-case scenario for both builds, so to speak. So what exactly is Mechanical Acuity? So it is a set that is crafted in Clockwork City, so you do need to have Clockwork City in order to craft this set, or you need to have access to a guild house that has Mechanical Acuity attuned crafting station. You need 6 traits in order to craft it. And let me just scroll up to a CPU 160. So this is what it looks like. It's a very hybrid based set. You can see here 2 pieces weapon damage, 3 pieces spell damage, the 4 pieces max stam and max magicka, and then the 5 piece, when you deal damage you have a 15% chance to gain unerring mechanical vision for 5 seconds, causing your attacks to always be a critical strike. This effect can occur once every 18 seconds. So that 5 piece is kind of what people are very interested in, because it seems like a very, very powerful 5-piece. But the one thing that you have to consider too is, and this is true for all sets that you are trying to build a build around of, it's the 2 and the 4-piece, 2, 3, and 4-piece effects. So if you're trying to use this, for example, on a Magicka DPS, you're basically wasting one of those set effects. The weapon damage, that doesn't matter at all for Magicka DPS, obviously, so you're only really getting the spell damage and the max stamina, max magicka. So you're losing out basically on a single set effect. Now, while that might not seem like a big deal, if you consider that that could be an additional spell damage boost, or it could be an additional magicka or magicka regen boost, it does actually make a fairly large difference in your overall performance. So I don't think I can. Yeah, okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to do this, pop it out. So this is what it looks like when you have it all completely golded out. You have 129 weapon damage, 129 spell damage, 1096 stamina and magicka, and then the 5-piece doesn't change at all between quality. It's one of those 5-piece effects that isn't affected at all, depending on the quality of the weapon, of the armor, I should say. So yes, you are losing out on that 2-piece effect. Now, this is kind of where things get a little weird, because the 5-piece seems very powerful. For 5 seconds you have all of your attacks are going to be critical hits, and this can occur once every 18 seconds. So what does that actually translate to when it comes to actual crit chance? So right now we're just going to swap over to our calculator real quick, and I'll show you guys kind of the actual effective crit chance boost that you're getting from Mechanical Acuity. So right now we're going to assume that we have a 50% chance to crit, which is not completely uncommon. A lot of Magicka builds now are running around between 50 to 60 crit chance, depending on the specific build. Magicka Sorcerers, for instance, naturally have a lower crit chance compared to Magicka Nightblades, so there is some variability there, but we will be going with the base of 50% crit chance. So when the armor says every single hit you make is going to be a crit chance, you're basically taking 100 minus whatever your crit chance currently is. So with a 50% crit chance, obviously that's going to be a 50% crit boost. Now we also have to take into consideration your uptime. So 5 seconds out of a 18-second cooldown, that's a theoretical max uptime of 27%, or thereabouts. So do keep that in mind. So we are actually only going to have a 27% uptime on Mechanical Acuity. Assuming, of course, that you keep it procced on cooldown. This obviously isn't going to be the case. There's going to be times where you're not going to be able to proc it on cooldown. Now, when that happens, we're going to have to change things around a bit. But for right now, we'll just assume best case scenario, we get the proc it on cooldown. So ESO floors everything. So right now we're looking at 27% uptime. So basically what you want to do then is you want to multiply the effective crit boost that you get and multiply that by the uptime, and that'll give you the effective crit boost that you get from the 5-piece effect. So we do 0.5 because remember it is a percentage, and then you multiply that, that's plus, you want to multiply that by the uptime you get, so 0.27. So you're looking at a theoretical max crit chance boost of 13.5%. So that is what Mechanical Acuity translates to when you have a 50% crit chance. Now we're gonna, so now you want to obviously compare that to a crit set. That was booted from the server for inactivity. Oopsie. Login failed, of course. So, as I'm trying to log back into my tune, I don't know why I was booted from server. But basically what you want to compare this to is a crit chance based set. So obviously for Magicka that would be Mother's Sorrow, and for Stamina that would be Leviathan. Try one more time, and if that doesn't work then I'll just swap back to... Okay. We'll just head on over to UESP instead so I can show you guys exactly what we're looking for here. Alright. So what I was saying was you want to compare it to the crit sets that you have. So for Magicka it's going to be Mother's Sorrow. So you want to compare it to the overall crit chance that you get from Mother's Sorrow. So when you have golded out Mother's Sorrow, you have 833, 833, 1924 spell crit. So 833, 833, 1924, and then you want to divide that by 219. Oops. Sorry. So 3590 divided by 219. So that's about how much crit chance you're getting from a set like Mother's Sorrow or Leviathan. They have basically the exact same boosts. So you're looking, basically if you're looking at Mechanical Acuity from a build that has 50% crit chance, and you're trying to compare that to a set like Mother's Sorrow, you're actually going to lose out. Because the 5-piece effective bonus on Mechanical Acuity, as we've calculated, is 13.5% increase in crit. Compare that to the boost from Mother's Sorrow, you get 16.4% additional crit. I think it actually rounds down to 16.3 on the actual tooltip, so 16.3% extra crit. So that's kind of where Mechanical Acuity falls. So obviously, in order to get better use out of Mechanical Acuity, you want to lower your crit chance because that results in a larger effective boost from the 5-piece effect. So let's say you have 40% crit chance with Major Prophecy and all that. Now that's a little bit difficult to get, but it is possible to do so. So you do obviously 100 minus your crit chance, which is 40, so you have obviously a 60% effective crit chance from the 5-piece effect from Mechanical Acuity, and then you multiply that by the uptime of 0.27, theoretical max uptime, so you get 16.2% effective crit boost from the 5-piece effect of Mechanical Acuity, assuming you're proccing it on the cooldown. That's a lot more favorable compared to Mother's Sorrow at 16.4%, but it still loses out by 0.2% crit chance. Now, for those of you guys who aren't already aware of this, Mother's Sorrow obviously is out DPS'd by Julianos by a few percentage points. It's a topic that is worth exploring a little bit more, comparing Mother's Sorrow to Julianos. I might do that for a separate video, but from testing done by a lot of theory crafters back in Horns of the Reach, and even after Horns of the Reach was released, Mother's Sorrow loses out to Julianos consistently. It's not like a it sometimes beats Julianos depending on your build. It consistently loses out to Julianos by anywhere between 2 to 4%. So just going off of that and going based on Mother's Sorrow results compared to Julianos, we can pretty much say that Mechanical Acuity is going to lose out to Mother's Sorrow because it has a lower effective crit chance. In addition, you're also losing out on that extra 2-piece effect, like I said, because weapon damage doesn't really do anything for Magicka classes at all, except I guess Magicka DKs because they use Rearming Trap, but even then you're probably better off using Spell Burning Spellweave or Silks of the Sun. So just based on that, we can definitively say that Mechanical Acuity doesn't really play out very well for PvE builds, because a lot of PvE builds right now are running higher than 40% crit chance. Even with a Magical Sorcerer using Moondancer and Necropotence, your crit chance is still probably going to end up around 45-50%, with Major Prophecy and Minor Prophecy both procced. So you know, we're just looking at the numbers that we already calculated out. We can tell that Mother Sorrow is going to provide more crit than Mechanical Acuity, plus you get all 3 additional 2, 3, 4 pieces from Mother Sorrow compared to just the 2 from Mechanical Acuity. So it just, it's not a good set for PvE. Now for PvP, on the other hand, where your crit chance isn't going to necessarily be as high, for example, my Stam DK, I run less than 30% crit chance, Mechanical Acuity is actually going to end up beating out Leviathan. Now, it might not be the best set for PvP, but for PvP you have a lot more flexibility with your build based on what you want to accomplish. So Mechanical Acuity is pretty decent for PvP. You can make a build around it with PvP, kind of maximizing on the 5-piece effect and critting things out. But you know, that's PvP. If we're talking about strictly PvE, Mechanical Acuity is a very subpar set. So that's kind of why I've been hesitant to test out Mechanical Acuity, because I know just from the math that it's going to lose out to Julianos. By how much, I'm not 100% certain. But if I had to put numbers, I would probably say anywhere between 4 to 6%, maybe even 7% difference compared to a Juliano set. Now, I think it might be possible to create a build that maximizes the 5-piece effect from Mechanical Acuity, basically reducing my crit chance down to around 40%, so it's pretty much on par with Mother Sorrow. So I do think it is possible to make a decent build using Mechanical Acuity. However, I'm not sure that it would necessarily beat out Julianos by any means, and it definitely won't be something that you can use on all classes. For example, Nightblades, because you get extra crit chance depending on how many assassination abilities you have on your bar. So I will again be trying to test out Mechanical Acuity versus Julianos, the best of both worlds, but I'm not putting, if I were a betting man, I'd put basically all in on Julianos and have nothing down on Mechanical Acuity. But I will test it out for you guys because you guys have asked for it a couple of times now. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys found it informative, and I will see you guys in the next dungeon.